What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I know I had posted that this was going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but in the words of the late great Eddie Guerrero, I lied because right now we have one of the preeminent members of our combat sports community. He's a cutman extraordinaire. He is one
Thank you.
Sergio, Big Sage Estrada. Brother, how you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. Great to have you on. Again, we're kicking this early, but I mean,
I
why?
have that
Why make the
airplane
people
flying
wait for the good
overhead.
news?
I had
Yeah.
that airplane flying overhead, so I could barely hear you.
Oh no, you sounded great. You sounded great. But no, I was just like, we were supposed to start a little later, but like when you got gold in your hands, why do you want to keep the people waiting? You know. So we're doing this right now. But how's everything?
Right. Hey, right now's the time, bro. Everything is going great, man. I'm out here. I'm out here at Knockouts Boxing Gym, in Southgate, the city of Southgate, and we're right here. We're working. Forgive me for not having my mask, but people who's watching and concerned, like, oh, he's doing the wrong thing. No, I'm actually. There's nobody around me right now. I'm socially distancing from everybody else, so I had to take the mask off so I could speak a little more clearly with you. But as soon as I walk back inside that gym, I'll give you guys a little, brief little peek. I'll more than likely put the mask back on. I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see. But yeah, we're right here. Um, Glad that combat sports are back. Obviously, one step at a time, and we have to do it in a very responsible manner. But yeah, brother, it's good to be back.
It is, man. I mean, there was quite a long siesta, especially for combat sports here in California, and it was just kind of weird, and even we saw, in the instance of like UFC and LFA that would have some of our SoCal, brothers and sisters kind of go out onto those stages, because gyms weren't open here in California and SoCal specifically, it was just like we didn't get to see what those guys and girls could do because again they didn't have a gym for 3 months and it took like a 7 day notice fight.
Right, right. Yeah, no,
So how's it?
absolutely. Like, sorry, there's like a little delay, and I'm getting really spotty signal here.
Uh-oh. No, you sound great though. You sound great. But
All right,
so
good, good.
yeah, so how's it like to be back in the saddle again, so to speak?
I mean, needless to say, I think not just for myself, but the fighters that do get an opportunity to get back in the ring or the cage for whatever um, it may be, coaches included, the commissions. Again, I'm pretty sure I can speak for everybody back in this, in the sport, that it feels good to be back. I mean, COVID hit and it changed the world. It changed the way all sports are being viewed and played. It changed our lives completely from one day to the next. And I mean, all I can say is, thankfully, there's many of us that know how to be resilient, adjust, improvise, and overcome the situation. And it's going to take some of us to try to pass that on to the people that aren't too savvy about, getting with the program. And hopefully, we can get through this together, sooner than later.
Yeah, and I love the fact you preach the togetherness aspect of what's going on right now because people are kind of filling their time with like getting into fights with family on the phone, on social media, and whatever, and it's just like no, it doesn't matter how people feel or whatever. It's just like we're a part of a larger community, and we should come together in times like these.
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can say it is we're in a world now where we basically have to live in bubbles for right now. I mean, in order for us to keep pushing forward safely, in a way that we're not just waiting for things to happen. Life goes on, and I tell my kids this: be safe, be smart about what you do, how you go about doing it, but you can't stop your life. You can't stop your life. A big point that I want to make to all you fighters out there: yes, I know it's hard, not being able to go to your gym. And I mean, the gym for many of us is like a second home, a home away from home. It's our comfort zone. That's where we work. That's where, our passion comes out, and that's where we polish our skills. So for all you fighters out there, if you can't make it to the gym, hey, you got to stay busy. You got to keep that mind active. You can't get, stagnant and stale and just, you know, unfortunately for fighters, there's a time lapse. That it doesn't stop. What I'm trying to say is that for a fighter, you only have so much time to be able to put your skills on the chopping block to get that pay, to make a name for yourself, to get those wins, or forget the wins, to get the fights. So if we sit around and just wait, and then once things gradually start happening, hey, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, because we don't know when this whole pandemic is gonna I'm not gonna say go away, because I'm pretty sure COVID-19 is here to stay. It's how are we gonna adjust to that? And for all you fighters out there, hey, right now is the time where you can't afford to let your guard down. You have to figure out, get creative, whether it's involving the family at home, whether it's just taking one of your siblings or a friend, go on a run, or go social distance yourself, but stay active, because that phone call, you're gonna get that phone call, and then if you're not ready, I mean, a fighter stays ready. That's the point I'm trying to make. Fighters, you need to stay ready, you need to stay focused, because at any given time you can get that phone call, and if you're not ready, there it is, there went that opportunity. But yeah, brother.
No, absolutely, and it's crazy because more short notice fights and 7 days out, calls have happened, and literally everywhere. Golden Boys
Absolutely.
boxing, it's happened at LFA, it's happened at UFC. More people that were waiting on that call, they're getting that call, and they may or may not be ready. And it's just like you
and
gotta.
And here's a funny thing about this whole situation. Not to cut you off. Like I said, I'm sorry. There's like a little delay, so when I think you're done talking, that's when I try to jump in. Is like, oh wait, he's still talking. but
Sorry.
but it's one of those things that like you just said, you're gonna get those short notices. Right now, a lot of these big celebrity fighters that are used to getting those big paychecks by these promotion companies who are making the big dollars because fans are coming in and buying cokes and buying beers and food and paying top dollar price tickets for that seat they're going to sit in. You're not seeing that right now. So what's happening? Promotion companies are saying, okay, well, you know what, in order for us to go ahead and continue the sport and push the sport out there, maybe we're not going to pay those big purses right now, because it doesn't make sense. If you think about it, it's a business. Yes, it's a sport, but behind the sport, there's a big business that's pushing it and driving it. So if a promoter can't make the return on the ticket sales, on the concession stands, whatever it is that they're used to making money off of, it's not there no more. Then those big fighters, or the fighters that want that big money, are probably going to get overlooked for the meantime, at least, until the promoter feels like, okay, we figured out a way where we can actually make a little bit of revenue. But right now is the time where all these younger fighters, all these fighters that normally wouldn't get the opportunity to be seen on a big stage or on television, ESPN, Top Rank, the Zone, you have Golden Boy, you have Bellator, you have the UFC, all in there, that have that platform. Unfortunately, like I said, that revenue isn't coming in. So what does that mean? It means that the fighters that typically don't make those type of cards, the fighters that typically don't make that big money, they're the ones that are going to be, stream being the highlights right now because of that, and unfortunately, like I said, yeah, a lot of these fighters aren't getting paid what they're used to getting paid. But at this point, it's about bringing the sport back out and trying to make sure that these fighters do get an opportunity. They do stay active. Take care of my boy, champ. See you. But yeah, I mean, any real fighter will tell you, hey, some fight is better than no fight. So bring it. And as long as you stay ready, I'm sure you'll get that chance.
Absolutely. And what better way than right now where, those big, money fighters aren't getting the call because, for a promoter that has no fans, that aren't making any concession money or merch money or what have you, what better way to breed new stars than right now where, guys and girls are getting calls from the big show. And if they show out and they make
Coach.
Instagram highlight reel or a YouTube, viral video or whatever, this could be a time to make new stars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a lot of promotion companies are seeing it that way. It's it's new talent, it's young talent, it's raw talent that hasn't been exposed, that hasn't been, polished up enough for anybody to really sell it for the diamond that it is. So right now, there's a lot of fighters that, yeah, they're diamonds in the rough, and they're the golden ticket for a lot of these promotion companies that that are looking for the next best thing, the next great, fighter. And again, how does that happen? Hey, you got to stay ready. You got to stay ready.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that you yourself have been able to do, over the course of your career, which I definitely want to dial it back a little bit. Because for those who don't know, like, how did you start? Because, I mean, a vocation of being a combat medic, a cut man or cut woman, like that is something that is truly unique. So, how did you get your start?
It's one of those. It's a story, that's for sure. A lot of people have told me, "Damn, you have a very interesting story." And I mean, my story is my story. Everybody has their story. But yeah. I'm proud to say I'm a retired combat veteran. I was a combat medic for the majority of my career. I joined the military in 1993, and finally ended up retiring. After a couple different segues in my military career, but I finally ended up retiring in 2014. That year was probably one of the darkest years of my entire life, in the sense that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, I felt like a person with no motive. Like what's my purpose? I guess you could say. I was so used to a daily routine. You wake up, at 5 in the morning. You go do PT. In the military, you go back, you have breakfast, shit, shower, shave, and then you go back to work. Call at 9 o'clock, and you work from whatever MOS, whatever job specific you do. You do that from 9 to about noon, 11 o'clock, and it's lunchtime. And then you come back at 1. So it was a very rigid routine that I've lived all my life. Taking care of soldiers, dealing with their promotions, teaching them new skills, teaching courses, testing. Just there's just so much that I ended up having routines, and I was molded by that routine of a daily, military career life that I lived. So in 2014, when I retired, for the very first time in a very long time, it was like I'd wake up when I want to wake up. And everybody says, "Oh, I can't wait to retire," because then I'm just gonna stay in bed till whatever time I want. If I don't want to get up, I won't. That's all fine and dandy, and I had that mentality too. When I do retire finally, I'm just gonna kick back and chill. Well, you can only do so much of that.
Right.
At least with my experiences in life, and again, being a combat veteran, I deal with my PTSD. I have my traumatic brain injuries that I deal with, my ailments, my aches and pains that I'm going to be dealing with for the rest of my life. And so for the first time, not being able to focus on something else to take my mind off those things, it became the biggest, darkest cloud over my head, and long story short, I found myself in a situation where I was very close to attempting suicide, and for one reason or another, I guess it wasn't meant for me to go down that path. My wife came in and, interfered with the situation. It just, things happen for a reason, But like I said, I found myself in a very dark moment, the darkest moment of my entire life, something that um, I resorted to something that I never realized I was moving in that direction. I resorted to a situation in which I had soldiers during my career that successfully, unfortunately, committed suicide for whatever issues they were dealing with. So I was always one to be a shamer of situations like that. Shame on you, you gotta think of your family. You're so selfish, and I would always down my soldiers and tell them, that's that's not an option. But for the first time in my life, I realized that not everybody is conscious of what's happening when they're in that situation. I
Right.
remember, Adam, I remember that day waking up, and it was just another day. I sat on the edge of my bed. From that moment, things went black. The next thing I realized is, my wife with the handgun in her hand, in tears. Like, I had no idea. And for that gun to be in her hand, let me walk you through what she had to have done if she was the one that grabbed that handgun, which is scary, because I have to really think about that and swallow the idea that from the moment I sat on my edge of the bed and shit went black, I don't recall me getting up, taking 20 steps, walking into my closet, reaching up, maybe probably even stepping on my, standing on my tippy toes to reach for my gun case, to pulling it down, getting the keys, unlocking the lock, pulling the handgun out, taking the trigger lock off, putting a clip in, cocking it back. I don't remember none of that. So for me to experience a moment like that, um, it was it was a very humbling yet frightening moment for me, because I don't recall doing any of that. I recall sitting at the edge of my bed, and the next thing you know, I snap out of it, and my wife has a gun in her hand. Um, so it's one of those things that I gained a lot of respect for behavioral health issues, for mental health. Um, I felt like a hypocrite for the very first time, because I was always shaming and downing my soldiers and telling them, you can't be selfish. If you got, issues, deal with it, suck it up. Because that's what the military teaches you. Oh, your foot hurts, suck it up and keep on marching. Oh, you have a broken leg, here's the ibuprofen, drink some water, suck it up and hit that trail. So to me, it's one of those things that we numb it. We numb the pain. We numb those feelings. And we're so good at doing that shit like this happens. I was so good at numbing my feelings and just pushing my feelings to the side that for the first time in my life, those feelings took over. Another mindset took over, and that motherfucker put it in overdrive. For me to go in that route. So long story short, um, I found myself in the darkest moments of my life. What better way to release some of that than to hit the gym, to punch a bag, to have people surrounding me that are focused on something, and for me to maybe emulate that a little bit. It gave me purpose again. Then it segued into a different angle, because at that point I was just trying to relieve some of this stress, some of this frustration. Next thing you know, I find myself surrounded by fighters that hear my story. And it's like, wait a minute. So damn, you kept people alive. You were in combat. Bombs blowing up and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately, that was a almost daily scenario for a period of my life. And they said, well, if I was to get cut, would you think you could stop the blood? Oh shit! If I keep people alive, there's nothing that's gonna happen inside a cage or a ring that I ain't seen. Like I said, a million times worse in a battlefield with no referees or ringside physicians to come and say, "Hey, pause, hold on, this is getting a little out of control." No, there is none of that. It's you versus them. It's your life versus mine, and my mentality always was that I have a family back home. I have friends that rely on me to come back home, and I'm sorry, bad guy. It's you or me. Well, guess when it comes to me, I'm coming home. I don't know what you got going on, but you're not taking my life. So I can say that combat sports gave me the purpose. Combat sports saved my life in the sense that it gave me purpose again. And now I'm that old combat medic with my soldiers getting ready to go into a battle zone. I have that responsibility that I had, for the last 25 years, 20 years of making sure that my warrior is okay, making sure that my soldiers are just fine in a time of war. So being a cutman, brother, saved my life. It gave me purpose. It gave me direction. It gave me a reason to live. And not many people have heard this story. I don't want to say that I use that as a platform to push myself up and put myself in the spotlight. Hey, I'm just answering a simple question. You want to know my background? I'm letting you in on it. But yeah, it's there's some things in life that you don't even want to think about, especially me. There's a lot of experience that I've gone through that I'd rather just not reflect on that and focus on the now. And man, I'm telling you, I'm living my best life. Being a cut man was never once in the mix. This wasn't something that when I was going to school, I said, hey, I want to do medicine because I want to end up in a cage or a ring. Hell no, bro. This saved my life. I have a passion for what I do. I have a passion for caring for others and making sure that I can offer them my hand to make them better at whatever they do, and that's just me. I've said it before. I'm a healing spirit. I do sports therapy. Why do I do it? Because I know the body very well. 20 some years, 25 years of nothing but medicine and anatomy and physiology. Trust me, I know how the body works. So being able to incorporate some of my sports therapy and working as a cut man and being in here and kind of coaching guys here and there. I'm not a coach, but I've been around the sport long enough to where I know when you got to cover up and throw that jab a bit. So I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed to be around people like yourself that help push me, that motivate me, that give me a reason to grind and to be better, than I was yesterday. It takes, like they say, it takes a village, and to me, the entire combat sports family, whether it be MMA, boxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, full contact karate, whatever it may be, kumite, bare knuckle boxing. I've met so many people in this industry and these businesses that that I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed. I'm surrounded by a lot of great people and people that motivate me and support me and push me and give me opportunities, brother. That's all I ask, an opportunity. Trust me. You give me an opportunity, I'm gonna make the best thing you could ever, have asked for. But
I
yeah,
mean,
bro, that's where we're at.
th- but that's incredible. I mean, so much of that it touched me because my dad, he got drafted into. Oh, well, first and foremost, thank you for your service. But it's crazy. So my dad, he grew up
Thank
poor
you,
in
Adam.
Indiana, oldest of like nine kids, and when the draft came, and he got drafted into the army, he basically saw that as a way out of Indiana and being poor and what have you. And um, he went in 69. He was out by 71, but the things that he saw, I mean, it haunted him. Even when I was growing up, and that was like 20 years removed from his military service. And I really appreciate you being so open and honest with the personal struggles and the mental strife, and because everybody wants to rah 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 when our boys and girls in combat go to combat, but what's here for the aftercare? You do 3 months of basic training, but you basically get your debriefing in maybe a week's time, and the amount of things that you saw in that time, and it's just like we have to do better for our community at large because like the struggles happen, and especially right now where we're in this COVID situation. People don't know how to handle maintaining a health. You're dealing with fighters. You deal with fighters that unfortunately are getting traumatic brain injuries and are going will already or are going to go through some of the same things that you've been through, and the processes, and we all wonder like, oh, why after it all happens, but here you are, standing strong and showing essentially that yes, it is a problem, and then yes, we can address it, and we need a little bit of help sometimes, and and the fact that I mean, you're uniquely suited, not just your military service, but the person that you are to be right in the thick of things, because I mean, I think you sharing your story, is going to help people not just in fight world, but I mean the world at large, because you've seen it all and you've done it all.
Yeah, and that's a thing. That after having that experience, it, like I said, it humbled me. It opened my eyes to, the fact that not everybody that I guess has a successful situation, and unfortunate to say it like that, of suicide. It made me wonder, like, what outlets do some of these people have? Do they have outlets? Do they not? And a lot of people think of it as, oh, he just had a moment. He's just looking for attention. He or she just looking for attention. And let me tell you, bro, I've never been an attention hog. I've never been an attention seeker. I'm always typically the quiet guy that you just likes to sit in the back, and I'm one that likes to observe. I'm one that likes to watch. But but it made me wonder, how many lives out there didn't have to be lost because they needed an outlet. They needed somebody to just, somebody who could understand their situation, or maybe not understand their situation, because every situation is different and not everybody's going to understand the situation you're in, but just to be able to extend your hand and say, I'm with you. You're not alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, maybe I'm not living it with you, but I'm here for you. It's just, to me, it's a humane thing for us to respect one another and give each other that little, vote of confidence, of support, that hey, you know what, you're not alone. And life sucks. Yeah, hey, life sucks for everybody in one way or another. um, but we always have, we should, I'm not going to say we always have to, but we should be there for one another. um, and I've made it a purpose of mine to ensure that I do push that little bit of a story out there, that even when times are tough and dark and lonely and all that, you know what? There's still a little bit of sun rays coming out somewhere. You just got to look at the sky and look for them, bro. If we're constantly looking down at the ground, and unfortunately, sometimes life has that effect on somebody. That it's so rough and so tough and so hard and so heavy. Life, that we it bears on our shoulders. But hey, shit, life is hard for everybody. Keep your head up, chin to the sky, and keep pushing. Life is beautiful, and unfortunately, like we said earlier on with this COVID here, it's a threat. And why not take every day for what it is, a blessing, because we don't know when that blessing is going to end. And I mean, I'll definitely make a point of pushing, behavioral health, mental health to the forefront, and make sure that people understand that it is a condition. It is something that you don't have to be diagnosed with it to feel it. It's something that you don't just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, bro. Mental health is a big deal. It's real, and we need to be there for one another, And I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily have to know you, but I'm here if you need a dump, if you need advice, if you just need to let something out, and not have to worry about, oh, somebody's gonna give me their opinion on what my life needs. No, no, no. Ain't no judging here. somebody needs to talk, Big Serg is here to listen. And if you don't need me to say anything other than to listen, hey, by all means, I respect that because I understand what that feels like.
No, and I mean, again, if we could all do just that, right? Rather than engaging in kind of fights, over how people feel or how people, any number of things, how people voted or who this and what you believe or whatever, just to be like, hey, let me let me just listen to you. And how many people actually just need somebody just to listen to them, and to help them sort it out. Sometimes
That's
you
it.
don't need that. Sometimes you don't need that like a sounding board. You just basically need somebody to be there. Sometimes you need that blanket. Yeah, it, it,
Yeah,
it just
absolutely, bro.
no, but go with what you were saying, good
You
sir.
kind of froze on me there.
No worries, no worries. But I mean, everybody just needs
There you
to
go.
hear
There you
people
go.
out. Yeah, you just gotta hear people out. If everybody rather than everybody's engagement for the last like 4 months has just been like and fighting and whatever, and it's just like just listen. Like I've never been more kind of aware to see both sides of a story, a scenario, or what have you. Now, so more now than I ever have before. And when the
Right.
negativity is there, sometimes you just have to step back.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But yeah, man, I mean, hey, we're blessed. We're here. We're alive and well. There's, oxygen in our lungs. Take care, champ. See you Friday. I'm a boy. But yeah, and just blessed to be here on Earth, brother.
No, absolutely, and we're blessed to have you here. I probably speak one of so many that this. I mean, again, fighters are looking. It's almost like me. I went from going to like, hey, can I get an interview to like, hey, we're doing an interview right after this, right? And he's
Right.
kind of been like, I've literally seen fighters go like, "Where's Big Serg?" Like, and then you're wrapping like three other fighters' hands, and because they didn't bring cutman or quarterman or wrist taper, and you're there too, and you're there for literally everybody that seeks you out, and I can't tell you how much I and our community, appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man. Like I said, this whole journey, being a cut man, I keep it, near and dear to my heart. Like I said, I have a different reason for being in this business. Um, it's giving me purpose, man. It fills my heart. It's giving me life, and in return, I'm seeing the smiles on my family members, my wife, my children. I see the pride in them, and to me, it makes me feel good, bro. It makes me feel good that that I'm doing things that are still making my family proud of me. And I'm meeting fighters, and I'm a part of their journey, and to watch them grow and develop and become the best. It's it's a blessing, bro, because not everybody gets an opportunity to be a part of something like this, and for them to accept me in their corner, in their as part of their team, as an integral piece of whatever it is that they're doing. To me, it means a lot, and like I said, it's not about me. It's not about the fame and glory. Yeah, Big Surge to come, man. It's a brand at this point. So just like any other brand, I got to push it. But my heart really is in the beef and potatoes, which is it's giving me life, and I'm being able to share my experience, my knowledge, my skill set, um, with somebody else, so that it benefits somebody else. It's benefiting another fighter's career. It's not benefiting me in the sense that I'm becoming a world champion. It's not benefiting me in the sense that I'm the one getting the big paydays. No, it's not about that. It's not about a payday to me. It's about being a part of somebody's team, just like the army. It's about giving me purpose, just like the army. It's about me being able to showcase my skills and prove to others that Big Serg, the cutman, can make a difference. He's not just a greaser. He's not just a wiper. He's not just some guy that's gonna put a sock on your hand and tell you, "Okay, put the glove on, let's go." Nah, bro. There's a method to my madness. Every single we. I just had this conversation with a couple fighters earlier on today because I ended up wrapping Anthony Garnica, Golden Boy boxing prospect. I wrapped his hands, and another fighter comes up. And he's like, "Man, you've already been there wrapping his hands for like 5-10 minutes." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm not just gonna put a sock on his hands and tell him go on in there and do what you got to do. My job is to protect those hands. Those hands mean more to me than to many other people that wrap hands." I was like, "Why? Because when I wrap somebody's hands, when I work somebody's cuts, that's Big Surge doing it. That's my brand. That's my name. That's my face." I like so if I can't have a little bit of of pride in my own work, if I can't do it for the right reasons with my heart, not my pockets, you know, then you're in it for the wrong reason. To me, I pour my heart into every fighter. I see every fighter that I get the opportunity to work with as a family member of mine. My family embraces each one of the fighters that I work with as part of our family because, in a sense, they are. They're giving me the opportunity to be a part of their team, be a part of their journey, their career, their legacy. To me, that's family. Because you're not just going to bring anybody on board. You're going to bring somebody for a reason, and for all those fighters that have brought me on board, I think I try to prove my worth every single day that I interact with every single one of them. And yeah, I'm guilty of the fact that I don't visit my MMA gyms as often as I should. My jujitsu gyms, I don't. But again, it's one of those things that I have to spread spread my worth where I believe it's needed the most. And when it comes to MMA, I know for a fact that they don't spar as often as a boxing gym does. So to me, where they need me is at the boxing gym, and God knows that those sparring days for Black House, I'll show up to Black House MMA and make sure that if I need to wrap anybody, I'm there. If somebody gets a little boo boo, I'm there to fix it. You know, Jiu-jitsu, same thing. There's no blows, there's kicks being involved, but let me tell you, there's some big hearts in jiu-jitsu, man, and they just don't know when to let go, or when to say enough is enough, man. They got big hearts, and same thing, as a medic, I may not have to fix a cut in jiu-jitsu, but I've definitely had to reset some bones, I'll tell you that. So yeah, man. It's I'm just blessed to have the opportunity, like I said, to be a part of some of these fighters' careers and legacies, and it's just amazing, bro. It's amazing.
No, it absolutely is. And again, I don't think it should be denoted the amount of care and consideration that you put into it. And I'm glad that you're speaking out on it and how much it means to you. It's not just another fight to you. Like that is the center of your universe at that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I gotta ask you, because you've been around the block, you've seen it and done it all, like literally everywhere, every facet of combat sports you've done, right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the most memorable fights that you've been a part of, or memorable moments in this combat industry? Because I know you give a lot of yourself, but it's not as give something back to Big Third, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, oh, this world title fight is the one that meant the most to me. Or, honest to God, some of my most memorable moments have been amateur shows where these kids have, some of these fighters have no real idea yet of what to expect in a pro league, a pro division, as they push to that next level. And being able to share some of the pro experiences with those younger amateurs and get them thinking, and they're like, oh man, like I never thought about that. It's like, oh man, like I didn't know there was a purpose for this, you know. Oh, I didn't know that hands should be wrapped a specific way, or you know, that there should be things that are thought about when you're wrapping my hands. So sharing, educating, those moments mean more to me than. And don't get me wrong, you know, having Sanisa win her, you know, world title, and you know, being with, you know, alongside of a Canelo per se, or alongside of a Stitch Duran and Fabricio Verdum, and I mean, names I can give you tons of names, not just in boxing, you know, but big name Joe Stevenson, having the opportunity to work alongside with him, Juan Archuleta. I mean, you know, there's names that I could just go on and on. You know, having the opportunity to work with Bellator, you already know the names involved under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So to me, any moment where I've been able to educate or share an experience, and that fighter pays heed to that, those are very special moments to me, because those are moments where I see that they think about down the road. They'll reflect on a moment like that, you know? When I'm wrapping a fighter's hand, regardless of what kind of show, MMA or boxing, when I'm wrapping their hands, it's a very special moment for me, because that's a one-on-one moment between me and the fighter. And fighters, you know, fighters are different. Some of them are calm, cool, collected, and then as soon as they step foot inside that cage, they turn that switch and become a beast. You have other fighters that, as you know, as they're warming up, those jitters, the nervousness, you know, it's an uncomfortable, uneasy feeling. So to me, those moments before they get ready to step into the cage, those are very special moments for me, because that's a moment where I get to connect one on one. We get to get on the same wavelength. If I see that you're an anxious person, that's my time to calm you down and remind you that this is your night. You busted your ass for the past 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it may be, to get to this moment. This is your moment. Nobody can deny you of it. Whether I believe in my heart that that person's going to win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's that moment, sharing that special moment with them. And to me, those are the memorable ones. Not necessarily a win, not necessarily, oh, this was pay per view, this was a Caesar's Palace, MGM Grand. Hell, brother, I've worked the biggest venues on, you know, in the United States. I've been international, you know, beautiful places like Belize, and you know, I've worked gigs out there, and yeah, those are all special, but nothing's more special than having that one-on-one moment where you and the fighter are on the same wavelength, and you're bringing them to a point where you're reassuring them, um, you're giving them the tools that they're going to need to step in there to work. And man, those moments give me the chills. Those are the good moments for me, brother.
No, absolutely. And I love how you say, getting on that same wavelength as the fighter, because, what we were talking about, how emotionally taxing your army training was, and, coming out of the army and going through that, and the darkness and whatever. And you kind of inhabit, you almost like a soul taker, where you inhabit some of those nerves. You inhabit some of that cool. You inhabit some of that rage. All of that in that moment, you become that, and you kind of feed off of each other. And I mean,
Absolutely.
I've seen it. The last MMA events right in Long Beach. I see your veins like pulsing, and I could have thought you were going to go into the cage and do work.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you know, we've all had those moments, and you know, like you just said, if I can share some of that and get and dial in on you, and help you get through those moments, man, like to me, again, you know, that's a blessing. That's one of those special moments where you think about it like this. I've had 25 plus years of medicine, of career in medicine. So now put yourself in a situation like this. Let's say that you're the medic on duty in an emergency room, and you have that 6-year-old child that's getting wheeled in because they were at home swimming in their home swimming pool around mom and dad who just baked, unfortunately peeked away for just the wrong 2 seconds. And all of a sudden now they're wheeling in a child, infant maybe, that's blue at the lips, is not breathing. So if one can stay cool, calm, and collected in moments like that, if I can put my Joker face on and not look as concerned, as worried, to share, to pass those vibes on to whether it's the parents or even the rest of the medical personnel, you have to put your poker face on. And to me, that's where, going back to those special moments, that's my time to put my poker face on and put them in a calmer state of mind so that they can think clearly, so they can focus a little better. So things just happen naturally. These fighters, they put themselves through these camps, and muscle memory kicks in the day of the fight. You know, you, the best way of saying it is these fighters get paid to train, and the day they fight for free, because at that point everything is muscle memory. Those punches should come natural. What's up, chap? My boy, Terrell Gachet, right there, Olympic
Damn, right
medalist.
on.
Yes, sir, right there, my man. So yeah, to be able to share moments like that with an athlete of this caliber, Olympic athlete, medalist. Um, we're all human. We all have our moments where anxiety kicks in, and fear, or concerns, or worries, or doubts. So if I can take some of that away, I did my job, not just as a cut man, but as a human being, as a teammate. You know, I love it,
No,
dude.
I no, and it shows. I mean, it literally radiates off of you, and you know, I, I, I I didn't even know some of those, dark aspects of your life because I mean, you're such you're such a bright light in whatever corner you work. I mean, it permeates. I mean, even to fighters on the other side, of the cage or the ring, so to speak. It's just like your amount of positivity, like radiates completely. And man, I can't. Again, I feel like I'm speaking on behalf of so many, but like we really thank you for being who you are. This your unique amount of experience has made you absolutely perfect in your role.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Thank you all. Like I said, it's a blessing. I mean, I keep going to that term. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, and I'm not big on religion, bro. I'm big. I'm a big believer in good. I'm a big believer that if there's good, there's got to be evil. I'm a big believer in living a righteous life, whatever that may be to everybody. Whom it's different to people. To me, doing the right thing, being the best person that I can be, so that whoever's looking, it doesn't necessarily have to be my own kids, but whoever may be peeking my way, like, oh, so that's what right looks like. Okay, cool. I could fuck with that. Um, I'm just a guy, bro. I'm just a guy that was blessed with experience. I'm a guy that was blessed with an opportunity to share those experiences and my knowledge, and to put my skill set, on the table where it matters, and is gonna make a difference. And bro, let me just tell you, I mean, it's amazing. Big Surge the Cutman couldn't be Big Surge the Cutman without people like yourself, um, people like Vanessa Demopoulos, who I met one night working, a Smash Global event, and the next thing you know, I'm, being brought on board as her Cutman, and now she's a belt holder for LFA, and now is given an opportunity to go to the UFC. It's moments like that, that make a brighter day for me, and I don't think I've ever said that to her. If she's gonna watch this, I'm pretty sure she's gonna hear, verbatim for the first time. And to me, it's it's just great, bro. It's just great to be a part of people's careers like that. And I'm honored. It's very it's special to me. And yeah, man, promotion companies that are now giving me the opportunity. Golden Boy Promotions put on their first show post COVID, in the bubble this weekend, and it's unheard of for a boxing promotion company to hire a cutman. It's historical. So to me, to have my name in the mix in moments like that, in the history of a sport, in the history of, not just sport, of this world. I mean, COVID-19 came and changed things. So to
Hmm.
be a part of what happens post COVID, I mean, man, like there's no words that could explain, how I feel about that. To be put on the same platform as a person of the caliber as Stitch Duran, who is, basically doing the same thing as I am for Golden Boy, but he's doing it for Top Rank. To be included in the same sentences as names like those, it's amazing. It's great because, like I said, Stitch Duran has been doing this for decades.
Hmm.
Big Surge, a cut man, hit the pavement running in 2015. Here we are, 5 years, two-time Cutman of the Year, you know, fight book MMA. I've worked, like I said, championship fights all over the world. I've stepped foot and worked corners in the center of a cage of a ring in some of the biggest venues in this, the states and in the world, the mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden. For me, in such a small amount of time, to be able to put my name out there and show my quality of work, to 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 have done and checked off those boxes this quick, man, like I don't even have words for it, brother. I know cutmen that have been in this business for decades and have yet to have the opportunities that I've had. Um, it's amazing, and again, it's I thank people like yourself for helping make opportunities like this, for putting my name on a pedestal for others to hear, and who have no clue who the hell I am. Because again, I'm just me. I'm just another guy. You know, I'm not this celebrity that if you walk down the street and oh shit, there's Big Serg a cut man. Nah, bro. I could walk in the middle of a you know building, and not one person knows who the hell I am, and I'm cool with that because it's not about me. It's about what I could do for you. It's about how I can assist, how I could help, how I can make an impact, and to me, that's what it's about. I don't need the celebrity status. I've had the blessing of being able to enjoy some of those perks, and it's great. But I'm a simple, humble guy. I don't need nothing special, nothing outrageous. Hell, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a cold glass of milk. I'm cool and happy, dog. I'm cool with that.
Hey, some on some nights that's a payday.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely, bro.
Now I gotta ask, right? Because obviously you mentioned that Golden Boy card, that happened in India, and
Yes.
you have a very unique perspective. Obviously, hired by Golden Boy. Again, this is not just in California history. This is the first, like, one of the first boxing events that happened the world over. And
Yeah.
one of the things that definitely made news was some a world champion that has definitely been on your timeline, and you've been hyping up for a good reason for a while now. Is when Sinise Estrada, we shares the same last name. Obviously, fighting such an insane, right? It's incredible. I mean, that is viral on every social media stream: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's a this year's boxing equivalent of Jorge Masvidal's knees to Ben Askren, right? So what was it like? What was the atmosphere? What was the Miss Estrada's kind of mindset after that all went down? And you also posted a very unique, you know, um, I guess, a commentary about people who were kind of crapping on it and saying that Miranda Atkins have been in the ring and what have you. So
Right.
definitely want you to speak your piece on that because I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, a fighter is a fighter, and a fighter has heart, regardless of what. Take care, champ. Yeah, I'll see you. A fighter's a fighter, and you know what? Who is anybody to deny a fighter, or to say a fighter you're not ready, you're not good enough, you shouldn't be at this level. I mean, any fighter that you give an opportunity to get in the cage of the ring, they're gonna take it. Okay, so a fighter's first response isn't who am I fighting, how much am I getting paid. A true fighter is gonna say, when? Okay, let's go. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much I'm getting paid. So with that being said, I'm gonna segue back into the original question. What was it like? And I'm gonna tell you, to begin with, being in the bubble is weird. It's eerie in a sense, because we're so used to the fans and the crowd and the yells and the cheers and the and so for the first time you find yourself in what I've called it already. It's not even like we're at a fight. We're in a glorified sparring session. We're in a big empty arena with a television production crew. The promoters, security, fighters plus two. Their team, and there's no crowd. So from the jump, it's an eerie feeling walking up to the ring because it's not what you're used to. It's not what you're used to feeling. Forget, what you're used to hearing or seeing. It's not what you're used to feeling because you know as well as I know that you get that. You get some sort of special feeling when you walk into a packed place and you hear the crowds and so if you can feel that, um, as a spectator, imagine being the fighter or the fighter's team walking and all eyes are on you guys in the middle of this giant arena. So for one, that all disappeared. So it was eerie. But going back to Sanisa's fight, um, Miranda Atkins was not the original opponent for this. Um, this the original opponent. The original fight was supposed to be last month, and it fell out. Take care, brother. The original fight fell out, and they rescheduled it. She was supposed to fight that fighter, and apparently that fighter ended up, calling, whether it's Golden Boy or Sinise Estrada's, dad manager, saying that I guess she injured herself. Sorry about that. So I guess the fighter injured herself, so they had to find a replacement. Um, Phone calls were put out to other quality fighters, other champions, and unfortunately, none of them were either ready or wanted the beatdown. Just saying, I'm just keeping it real. They didn't want these hands, or again, they weren't ready. But anyways, they go down five or six. I mean, quality names, top notch names too. That would have, you know, it would have sold tickets. Let's just say, um, and then somehow Miranda Atkins and her team ended up reaching out saying, "Hey, we hear you're looking for a fight. You can't find an opponent. We're ready to fight. We want to fight." So, needless to say, from a promoter standpoint, from a fighter standpoint, hey, I'd much rather take a fight. I don't care who it is. Going back to, like I said, a fighter is going to fight no matter what. They don't want the detail. They just know that we got a fight going on. So the fight was made. Um, when I saw the records just on paper, it raised flags. It's like, well, what the hell? But who's again, 5-0, five knockouts? Who's to say? Who's to say? This is a moment, like I said in the very beginning, where fighters have to be ready for that phone call. And to me, I took it as such. I took it as Miranda got the phone call and she said, "Yeah, let's go." Turns out it wasn't even like that. That team reached out. That team was like, "Hey, we want to throw down. I'll take cans. Let's do this. You're gonna take some of mine." So much props to Miranda Atkins for having the heart to reach out and want the fight and accept the fight. And regardless of who she was facing, 18-0, Sinisa Estrada, undefeated, silver flag, titles. It didn't really matter to her. She was a fighter and she was ready to fight. Um, my understanding, she had a very good training camp for the fight. She was training, so it wasn't like she was not ready. It wasn't like she was, chilling at home, lounging on the couch. I don't know if she has children, just playing mommy. I don't know. The fighter was ready to fight, called, fight was arranged, took the fight. One thing that I did remember hearing in an interview, or something that was written up, a blurb that was written up, that she had stated was that, and again, this is after the fight, that she went into this fight knowing who she was facing, knowing that it wasn't going to be an easy fight, but what she wasn't ready was for Sinisa Estrada, that as soon as the bell rang, that she would just come at her like a tornado out of hell. So a lot of people after this fight, yes, Sinisa ended up with a record 7-second knockout for women's boxing. And a lot of people, after the fact were like, well, wait a minute, there's levels to this. How can you walk away from a fight and be proud knowing that you beat up, one, a 48-year-old woman when you're 28 years old? Two, you have a crazy record of 18-0 versus someone with 5-0. So people started digging at that, and again, it's unfair. It's unfair for Sinisa Estrada because regardless of what name was in that corner, whether it was Sinisa Estrada, whether it was Mike Tyson, whether it was Virgil Ortiz, whether it was whoever's celebrity fighter name you want to put in that corner, a fighter's going to do what a fighter's going to do. That fighter's going to come out and take the win and going to want to knock the person out. Well, she did exactly that. She did her job. So for people to bash on her saying, well, okay, would they have been happier if she just said, you know what? I got this girl. We're going to go the distance. I'm going to play with her. And at the very end, I'll knock her out. Would it have been that much more different if she would have knocked her out in the last round, in the third round, in the first round? I mean, a win's a win. Now, the opponent, again, you can't take shit away from her. She knew what she was getting into. She raised her hand to do it. So you got to give her the love and the credit and the respect for what it is. Now, there's levels to this. You know, a lot of people were talking down on Andy from the California State Athletic Commission, saying that that fight should have never been approved. A lot of people were talking down on Roberto Diaz, matchmaker for Golden Boy, saying, "How can you match that up?" Again, when a fighter reaches out and says, "Hey, I want to fight," and as a matchmaker, you're getting ready to scrap a fight because you can't find an opponent that's ready to take it, and all of a sudden this golden coin falls from the sky. Why not catch it and put it on the table? Some fight is better than no fight. There was already a fight that had gotten scrapped. I want to say it was the co-main event, Mercito Gesta and Tanahara. So that fight got scrapped. One of the fighters apparently got sick or something, food poison. I don't know what the story was, the details. But again, what it basically boiled down to was there's levels, there's skills, and unfortunately, one fighter got outclassed by the other in this match. Yes, it was 7 seconds, but I mean, it happens. This isn't the first fight ever that we've seen that could possibly have been called a mismatch. Um, there's plenty historical fights, in whether it's you see MMA or boxing, it doesn't matter. It happens. Um, you just have to understand the history leading into this fight and understand that it wasn't set up to be a mismatch fight. It wasn't set up to have Sanisa's record fluffed up because, oh, we don't want her to take a loss. Let's give her, some underachieved fighter, to go in there with. No, it wasn't like that at all. Wasn't like that at all. Two fighters had the opportunity to fight. One obviously was on another level going into this fight than the other, and that's what it was. Now, again, more more people are going to talk shit no matter what. Other people are coming in saying, well, shame on the husband for allowing Miranda to take the fight, because I guess the husband is her manager, is her promoter, and apparently this husband of hers, as a promoter on the East Coast, wherever they're from, I guess, had history of. There was a case, from what I read, that there was a case where he set up a fight where it was a special Olympic fighter versus a just a regular professional fighter, and so he tried to set something up. You got to look into it. You got to read the story, because again, I don't want to miss quote, or just put shit out there that isn't so. These were all things that I was reading, and it tripped me out. But yeah, if anybody should be questioning why this went forward or why was this pushed forward, to me, question the team, question the manager. The manager has the right to say, hey, we don't want that fight. Come on now. You're getting ready to step into a ring against a girl that's 18-0 and you're only 5-0. So managers need to take care of their fighters, because like I said before, a fighter's going to take a fight. Period. Fighter will not say no. It's up to us, the team. In this case, it's sad because it's not just her manager, not just her teammate, not just her promoter, her husband. So I mean, if it should be shame on anybody, honestly, shame on you, bro. Because I'm gonna be straight up. I'll be damned if I throw my wife in against somebody of that experience, knowing that my wife doesn't have that experience. So again, I don't know. I don't know their circumstances. I don't know their situation. I don't know what they live like. Could it have been one of those situations where, like, we need the paycheck? Who knows? Could it be one of those situations like Miranda actually came out and said, hey, I took an opportunity to be showcased against a very talented fighter on a very first boxing match coming out of post COVID. So there's more to it than just throw me in and get a paycheck, the way I saw it from what she said. So yeah, nothing but credit and much love to Ms. Atkins. I can't take anything away from her. Me working in Sinisa Estrada's corner, I think there's pictures and footage. Or if you want to go on DAZN and look at it, man, I was concerned for her as well. I left Sinisa's corner with my shit to go and try to ice her neck, do something, help out. Again, the medic in me, it kicked in. At that point, at first, I was looking at it as a fight, as okay, my fighter just knocked somebody out. Great, the cutman, we're winning, we won. But when you see somebody laying there, not moving, the shit gets scary and it gets real. Um, and to me, that's where, like I said, I went from being cut man, big Serg the cut man, to the medic. And okay, she's knocked out. We need to make sure see spine, make sure her neck is straight. You don't know if she has a damaged neck bone, a vertebrae. You don't know if something's going on in there. So when I saw Dr. Tucker go in there and take control of the situation, she sat up a bit. Okay, cool. What's my next step as a medic? Hey, you know what? Let's ice her neck. Let's ice her head. Let's try to cool her off and try to, you know, wake her up some. Let's try to see what her pupils look like. And I'm sure all of these are things that Dr. Tucker and the medical personnel that were there. Because look, if you look at it, even the EMTs that were there, you got to have your EMTs in the ambulance and the gurney ready. Them motherfuckers were nowhere to be found. They were sitting back there and they're like, "Oh my god!" They were spectators. To me, I would have already been pushing that gurney closer to the ring because, hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen next? We got to get ready to package, transport, and who knows. So to me, my medic skills kicked in. I left my fighter's corner, came around to the neutral corner, tapped Doc and tapped the commission. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna help ice, and they know me. I'm blessed in the sense that, again, there's that word blessed. I'm fortunate that I've established a very, very good working relationship with the California State Athletic Commission. They know my background. They know I'm not just some guy off the street that has no knowledge of what's going on medically. So they appreciate, they accept when I turn that switch. They accept it open heartedly and wholeheartedly and with open hands, because there's nothing better than to have an extra set of hands in a situation where you don't know what to expect. So you'll find me, you see me go in there and I start icing her, and we're talking to her and trying to, again, you don't really see that happen too often when an opposite corner cut man or teammate goes to try to tend to the opponent. It doesn't happen. So to me, it was a scary moment. Again, watching her lay there, not move. She was knocked out cold, and yeah, there was concern in Sanisa's face. I saw it automatically when she went down. Yeah, she turned around happy, and then she looked back and was like, okay, she's laying there still. If you look back, there was a moment where she tried to step up closer to check on her. She was told to back off. She went back to the corner. Um, her coach told her, hey, turn around, go take a knee in the middle of the ring. And she didn't want to make it awkward. She wanted them to focus on Miranda, which was the right thing for her to do. And again, I saw it firsthand, the concern in her face, you know afterwards, the questions she was asking. And again, yeah, it's a brutal sport, but it wasn't like it was put on social media. Oh, you guys took this fight with the intent of hurting somebody, of possibly killing. No, no, that's not the way it worked. People are quick to talk their shit, but that's not the way it worked. Again, Sanisa was concerned, the corner was concerned, I was concerned, everybody in that building was concerned. So again, that's the sport we're in. That's We're in the hurt game, and it happens. Do we wish it happened? No, of course not. No, I don't think, and I've said this before, I really don't think that any fighter going into a fight goes in there with the intent of, I'm gonna maim you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna take your life away from you. I truly believe that that's not the case. Now, do fighters hype up their fights prior to? Of course. Do we like the drama? Of course we do. We're human. Who doesn't like the drama? you know does drama sell? Of course, it's a business. So yeah, leading into it, yeah, you could say all this. Conor McGregor talking about, I'm gonna kill you. Mike Tyson saying he wants to eat somebody's babies and spit them out. And hey, it sells, brother. It's drama. So so for somebody to come out after a situation as such and say, well, that team, they did that intentionally. They want to know. I don't think anybody wants to see somebody get hurt. We've lost many fighters in this world, in the ring, in the cage, and I truly do not believe that we're in it for that purpose.
No, absolutely. And to play devil's advocate, right? I mean, it would have made headlines the other way around if Miranda Atkins had at 5-0 shocked the world at
Exactly.
48 years old, right? And basically
Exactly.
knocked Sinisa Estrada, multiple world time champion and what have you. That's a certain. It took the fight on a couple days' notice. Asked Golden Boy. If it went the other way, it would have made headlines for a completely different reason.
Absolutely.
So, in this fight, and it's there, and especially with the advent of women in combat sports. Of course, we had Layla Ali. Yes, we had Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, or whatever. But there's still a large populace of the population, world's population, that don't know that women's sports exist in combat. And
Exactly.
it's like this would have put another cherry on top
There you
for
go.
the proliferation of women's combat sports in all sports.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that old saying, eh, anything can happen in boxing, anything can happen in MMA fight. Yeah, absolutely. So again, that goes back to the reason why I said that. It's like, who are we to tell somebody no, you're not at that level? Hey, shit, anything can happen. We're in combat sports, man. Anything can happen. Look at again, I'm very proud of Vanessa Demopoulos. Little monster, man, she did her thing. Was she winning that fight? In my eyes, she wasn't.
Nope.
In my eyes, I was ready to, man, I'm going to have to console my girl when she gets back. She put in, hella work. And look, even though she was down on my, and I'm being real, I'm not sugarcoating shit. And on my numbers, Vanessa was losing. And look, she turned around, reversed. Man, crazy. Was it expected? No. You know, did we know she could do that? Of course we did, but the way the fight was going, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't going to happen. So I'm proud of her. She turned that shit around, took the fucking victory, got her belt, and more than deserving. But again, the reason why I'm saying that is because, of what we were just talking about. Who are we to say that, oh, it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way? Nah, man, anything can happen. Anything can happen. One good punch, you're out. One good move, and oh my God, I'm choking you out. I'm going to submit you. Anything can happen in combat sports. So, yeah, if a fighter feels that they're ready and the team doesn't, then I think at that point it's the team's responsibility to say, hey, I got to protect you from you, brother, sister, whatever the case may be, because it is our responsibility to protect our fighter. Just like, we got to know when to throw the towel in. Hey, we took the fight. Shit, our fighters getting their ass beat. Throw the towel in. Save them for another day. Why take more
Mm-hmm.
punishment? Let's go back to the drawing board. Fix what we're. Again, it's about the fighter safety, and yeah, unfortunately, what happened. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. But I don't think it's fair for anybody to shame either Miranda Atkins or Sanisa Estrada or the California State Athletic Commission or Golden Boy Promotions. It happens, man. It happens. Are we being hyperly sensitive because it's a women's sport? Maybe, possibly. Because we see that shit in men's boxing and men's MMA all the fucking time. All the time. So again, things happen. It was a great show. Again, part of history. It's just, man, it's glad to be back. Just glad to be back.
No, absolutely, and I mean, it shows in your face. The proof is in the pudding. But I mean,
Uh,
one last question before we go, because I
yeah.
mean, you were talking about you know coming back. It's great to be back. Two gentlemen. I mean, really boxing Hall of Famers are glad to be back. Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson, right? I don't need you to. I mean, make picks if you want to, but what we know about this is, I mean, it's going to be an exhibition fight. There's going to be oversized gloves, 54 and 50 respectively for Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., two of the greatest who ever that do it. But I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, you know what? It blew me away when I saw that. I was like, what the heck? Um, Mike Tyson, undoubtedly one of my most favorite fighters ever. He just so dominating, such a beast. Like he was one that I guess you could say if anybody was ready to walk into a ring to take somebody out, was that man right there. He had nasty intentions every single time going into that ring. He said it himself. But you can't take away, Roy Jones Jr. And again, we're talking about a seasoned with aged, both competitors. We're not looking at the same Mike Tyson, you know, of the 80s and the 90s, and we're not looking at the Roy Jones of the 80s and 90s. We're looking at them 2020. So how has time and age taken a toll on them? We're only going to wait to see that, when they do step in there. But again, it's an exhibition bout. I don't foresee either one of them really going in there with the intent of knocking the other out. One, two. Um, Do I think Tyson has the power still? Absolutely, bro. I watch his videos. You know, everybody and their mom shares it on social media. So, you scroll past 2 or 3 posts, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna come up on on another video of him working out. Um, yeah, he's still a scary dude. But Roy Jones isn't one that I want to say that he said it in an interview just recently. He says, "Hey, I just need God in my corner. You know, God's in my corner, and that's all I need. The rest is on me." So he's ready. He knows what he's getting into. I'm pretty sure he's gonna continue getting ready. And man, to me, it's gonna be a very fun fight, bro. Very fun fight. Who's gonna win? I don't know, because if it's something that if it's gonna be a Tyson win, it's gonna be a quick one. It's gonna be something that he's probably gonna catch him with a punch, and Roy's just gonna get glossy eyed, and they're probably gonna stop it there. Again, it's exhibition. I don't really see it happening like that. But if they want to go the distance, does Tyson still have the stamina to keep up as many rounds? Roy Jones Jr., great footwork, fast, speed, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. So, hey, much love to both of them. If either one of them is watching this, Big Serg is here. I'll raise my hand right now, and you need a cut man, I'm there. But by all
That's
means, it doesn't matter. They're both great guys. I've met them both. I wish them both the best. I'm anxiously looking forward to their fight. Just to see them both back in the ring again is something special for me. And yeah, I'm excited.
No, absolutely, and it's crazy, right? Because I mean, I was like, oversized gloves. What do we get? Like stocking boxers and what like it's like that's not. And you saw the Tyson training videos, and I was like, the last person that I could have thought of was Roy Jones, right? But I just got done watching the Last Dance documentary. It can't be overstated the greatness during his era of Roy Jones Jr. He was the Michael Jordan of boxing during that era. I mean, one of the
Yeah.
greats. I mean, how many weight classes did he fight in? How many championships did he win in each classes? In MMA, everybody wants to be 2 belts, 2 divisions. Roy Jones Jr. had like
Yeah.
4 divisions, 4 divisions, world
Exactly.
championship, no, like rinker dink promotion. No, these are all world champions and whatever. So there's that. And then the fact that Tyson has enlisted Rafael Cordero, the mastermind behind, Verdum and Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida and whatever. And, Tyson, who was just on the Rogan podcast like less than 2 years ago, still had a beer gut. And, Rogan asked him point blank, do you train? Do you whatever? He's like, I don't even run. I don't do nothing because like I don't want to feed my ego, right? And to see
Yeah.
him now, like 2 years later, it's just like that's Tyson of old. Holy crap! Like what the
Right.
fuck are you doing here?
And then and then he throws that curveball at you, because again, I've
Yeah,
seen him, man, his physique, he looks amazing, and then he throws that curveball at you when he's signing the fucking contract with a blunt in his mouth. And I'm like, come on, dog, like for reals, like you're trading, but you smoking your blunts. So how serious are you training? But then you look at his physique and it's like, the dude's on point. Like he's still a beast, man. So yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. Again, if it's for charity, more power to them. For whatever reason that they're doing it. Um, to me, it's amazing. It's amazing to see people do things for other reasons than for themselves. And yeah, I'm sure they're gonna get their paychecks. I'm not gonna say they're not, but hey, it's gonna be fun. It's always great to see legends like those come back. Like you said, shit. When I worked the one, I think it was the Bellator. I forget what number it was when Lyoto came back, and man, it's a trip. These are people that I grew up watching, on TV, and it's like, whoa, those are my idols. And to see them in 2020 stepping back in and putting in that work is like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's fun, and even more so now. That I'm in a position where I may get lucky enough to work alongside of these guys. It's great, man. It's amazing.
no, 100%. And I you know what? I think it would be a nice cherry on top. I think it would be, I mean, absolutely apropos that you end up working one of the corners. I mean, um, you're the man about town, but if they don't know how to find you on social media, the corners of Roy Jones Jr., the corners of Mike Tyson, they don't know where to find Big Serg Estrada. Where can they find you on social
Well,
media?
well, on Facebook, Sergio, Big Serg Estrada. On Instagram, they can find me big underscore Serg underscore Estrada. And on Twitter, big underscore Serg underscore Ace. But yeah, shit. Or Google Big Serg the Cutman, hashtag it, and you'll find all my social media on there too. So I'm getting to that point. Fortunately, you could Google me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the thing about it is, I mean, for all that you have done for us as a combat sports community, that's the least that we can do for you. So I'm gonna all of the legions of According to Woods fans and followers and what have you. We're gonna sound this drum and make sure that you're there at the Dignity Health Center in Carson when that all goes down. Because I it's absolutely right for me. It has to happen.
Thanks, boss. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate your friendship, all the support, all the words of encouragement and motivation, Adam. I've watched you. We were talking about this before we went live. I watched you come out of your shell and you hit the floor running with it, and here you are. Just I see you everywhere doing your thing, and like you said, it went from can I have an interview to now you're telling them, hey, after your fight, I'll be right here. You come to me, and they're coming to you. So again, the hustle, the grind, all the nights of hard work. Trust me, it pays off, and I'm watching you just develop into the great person that you are, and will continue to be. And I thank you. I thank you endlessly for all the love and support that you show me all the time. And yeah, man, thank you everybody watching this. Much love. Thank you guys.
No, man, we appreciate you, and we got to make this happen. But without further ado, he is Big Serg the Cut Man. I'm According to Woods, and I definitely implore you to like, share, and subscribe both the According to Woods Facebook and YouTube pages where you're seeing this right now, like right at this moment. And tell a friend. I'm just saying. But dude,
Yeah.
Serg, thank you so much. You're incredible, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to the next time. See you soon around a
Damn
cage
right,
or a
we got to
ring.
do it. We got to do a part two. Hell yeah, let's do that.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys.
I think
Thank you
next
guys for
I think
joining
next
us.
time